Hi there, guys. So there's an interesting Twitter thread that I came across today that looks at how this Grassroots Raise the Colours flag campaign, which has seen flags going up on lampposts in towns and cities across the UK, is not actually the grassroots campaign that it appears to be. Now, I felt that something was off about this whole campaign, and I mentioned in a video last week that this was for me about fomenting division and was a campaign being waged by essentially bad faith actors who were looking to ensure that councils would be forced to take the flags down and to paint over crosses on roundabouts so that they could then claim that there was a two-tier system in which white British people were being marginalised. So let's have a little look at this thread on one of the architects of the campaign. So this is an ex-thread by an account called Get a Grip. And it says Flag Force UK, the grassroots group with hidden think tank ties. Flag Force UK presents itself as a patriotic grassroots movement built by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. But closer inspection suggests it may be a coordinated AstroTurf operation. In this context, AstroTurf means that it's essentially manufactured to look like a grassroots campaign, but is actually run by sort of vested interests, people with power and money. So it says, supposedly based in York, Flag Force UK self-identifies as a grassroots campaign set up by three men who just wanted to put England and Union flags up. But then it goes on, it says, rapid growth, opaque origins. Flag Force UK appeared suddenly this month, but within weeks, its account on X had amassed a suspicious 12,000 followers, which is unusually rapid growth for a new volunteer-led group with little media coverage or on-the-ground activity. The organisation solicits donations through a vague crowdfunding page, but offers no transparency over its financial structure, goals or leadership on its website, which resembles that of think tanks such as Rob Bates's Centre for Migration Control. And the group's website mirrors the design style of the anti-migrant think tank CMC, raising suspicion of shared origins or bankers. Such tactics, adopting grassroots aesthetics while masking true funding, are a hallmark of astroturfing. Flag Force UK's founder, Joseph Moulton, recently had a very softball interview on GB News to promote the group's flag campaign as a way of rekindling community spirit. He presents himself as a patriotic activist, yet his professional background tells a different story. Moulton's backstory on the surface appears to be that of a concerned citizen acting with a few mates, but a closer look reveals a suspiciously competent performance on GB News and his rhetoric littered with phrases like nanny state and stats used by Tufton Street think tankers. And then he says he checked Moulton on LinkedIn, and matching his profile photo with his GB News appearance, his profile reveals a career not in local community organising but in defence consultancy, commodities and international business strategy. Moulton is the founder of GeoCapita, describing itself as a non-profit providing analysis on global trade and resources for decision makers. And he goes on to say that GeoCapita's language, as derived from its website, is steeped in geopolitics, intelligence and policy advice, a far cry from the volunteer enthusiasm Flag Force UK claims to represent. And given the sudden rise of Flag Force, some of GeoCapita's terminology and phrasing takes on an interesting resonance. Moulton's GeoCapita also claims it is founded by individuals with experience working with senior leaders in governance and industry, from presidents to CEOs, allowing all our pieces to synthesize perspectives on policy and commercial aspects. And then the sentence I really noticed in the context of Flag Force was, we further intend to act as facilitators for international agreements and understandings to pave the way for mutually beneficial agreements and nation-building projects. And he asked the question, is Britain one of their projects? There's no specific address or precise location provided for GeoCapita, but it claims to be a Westminster-based think tank. And then, as well as funding GeoCapita, Moulton also founded the Oberian Group, described as primarily a defence and supply chain consultancy incorporated in July 2025, just weeks before Flag Force UK launched. And then Oberian's website isn't accessible. We can see below that it describes itself as a firm specialised in exposure intelligence, defence procurement, renewable energy and something called data erasure, headquartered in Dubai. And then oddly, despite claiming Oberian is based in Dubai, Moulton's LinkedIn profile suggests he and it have since February 2024 been based in Cyprus. So then he asked the question, is this astroturfing? And he says the timing is striking. Oberian's incorporation in July, followed by Flag Force's explosive debut in August. Moulton's presence in think tank and defence networks contrast with the accidental, ordinary enthusiast image presented here. He says AstroTurf campaigns are designed to create the illusion of grassroots support while being orchestrated by well-connected professionals. Flag Force's AstroTurf attributes: they've got opaque finances, instant platforming, rapid online follower growth, and leadership tied to defence and think tanks. And so he says Flag Force UK is positioning itself as a patriotic movement, but its foundation suggests something more manufactured, a vehicle for shaping public debate under the guise of popular enthusiasm during a time of numerous patriotic anti-migrant campaigns. And it says GB News has a habit of platforming orchestrated AstroTurf groups. The channel may be a front for billionaire-funded geopolitical machinery designed explicitly to protect the wealth and power of the rich and powerful from democracy using divide and rule tactics. And then he finishes by noting how the media are picking up on this. He says other right-wing news media are pushing the claim that Flag Force is a grassroots campaign, and the bandwagon effect is a psychological phenomenon where people tend to adopt certain behaviours, follow trends, or agree with opinions simply because they are popular. So I think in the times in which we live, it's really important to sort of maintain a sceptical outlook and to really engage in critical thinking. And this guy's obviously dug pretty deeply into the background of this leader of Flag Force UK, which is really worth having a look at. I mean, I felt that something was off with this Raise the Colours campaign right from the start, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. So this fits. Remain vigilant out there, folks. Things are not always as they seem, are they? But anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.